I couldn't jump into frame because I done busted my leg. Wait, hold on. Hey there, friends! I'm Andrew from the Scrapbox. Episode 8 of The Amazing Digital Circus just came out last week, so this is your spoiler warning. You've got 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. There's no watch here. You've been warned. So today, out of Lego, we're gonna make a giant evil Caine. Let's get to it. Now, before there was giant evil Caine, there was normal Caine. But then after that, there was giant regular Caine, and that's where we're gonna start our journey. Now, the precise scale we make giant Caine at depends on our ability to construct his most prominent feature, his teeth. People often say the mouth is the window to the soul, and we'll be using this arrangement of plates as our base. But to prevent gum decay, we'll double up these plates, and then start our chompers using these round tiles for the... hold on. Incisors. However, if we just slap these on like so, the teeth jut out way too far, so instead, we'll set them back a bit with these jumper plates so we can spare Caine from getting braces later on. Now, in order to keep the illusion of a curve, our canines are gonna have to be these slope pieces, which aren't perfect, but they aren't bad either. Then, we can use these weird things for the molars.
Weird thing? How rude!
And because we don't want the tops to look like one singular piece, we're gonna use another curved tile in the middle to separate them into distinct pieces. Now, the back molars are special, for reasons obvious to those from the future. The only thing better than a single denture, though, is completing the set. This one is slightly different and will actually be the bottom set of teeth. But how will we have them float in the air? Well, that answer lies with 2020's DC superheroes, where all of the characters are leaping into action. With part 655, nobody calls it that, it's the action bar. And this pinhole tile, which when combined with the action bar, form the perfect clear angle to connect the molars. And now we have a floating set of teeth. Perfect for a chattering toy or a rogue AI. But Caine's head has another large feature, his eyes. People often say that the eyes are the window to the soul, and Caine's eyes change size. We can have large bulbous eyes with a black bar for the pupil, or a smaller set of eyes with a 1x1 stud, or if the case arrives, a singular round tile and stud. But whatever the case may be, it's important to have the eyes be different sizes. Both because that's how they often look, and because if they're the same size, they'll look like... oh yeah, I should mention that they all have bars in the back because this way we can use a claw and more action pieces to connect them to the mouth. Leaving only one more part for Caine's head, his hat. Now, people often say the hat is the window to the soul, and I want you to look at this really nice hat. It's got a curved brim, red hat band, and it slopes gently outwards towards the top. Absolutely wonderful. But we're not going to use this one, as it's too heavy and it'll rip the top of Caine's jaw off. Instead, we have this much lighter, yet far worse version that will stick to the top of his head with a clear 2x2 brick. And it'll remain there until later, when I think of something better. At least now we have a pretty decent version of his head, and we can move on to the body. Since I haven't learned any gravity spells yet, Caine's head won't be able to float. So instead we'll use this axle and Technic ball as a spine of sorts. And to make sure this spine doesn't move around too much, I've added not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Technic bricks for it to slide through, a stopper, and some extra stuff. All connected with a plate. This guy gets left out at the bottom, until we back up the whole thing with 2x3 plates. Now the waist is easy. Add a 1x3 brick, and an extra plate here, then a bracket on the side. Once the other side is done, we can add the curved slopes that help outline Caine's Dorito-shaped body. To make sure everything is secure, we slap on some extra plates and tiles, and that looks a bit funky, but it'll make sense later, I promise. For the top of the torso, it's very important to look at this section. Look at it.
Absorb its essence. Know in your heart of hearts that later
We'll change the red bricks. But for now, it'll help us build the sides. I don't think anyone wants to be bored with me explaining plates to you, but this claw plate goes here to cover the bit of red on the lower tile. Time to build up his lapel with a bit of these fancy black slopes, and then we'll tile the middle and create a strange bump at the top with an open stud plate in the middle because I have this T-bar here. And if we stick a cone on one side and one on the other side, then we get a fancy bow tie. You know, they say the bow tie is the window to the soul. The front of the lapel will be connected with these perfectly askew triangles, and then we flip them over. Now if I had the pieces, I'd use inverted curves to make the back look nice and fancy. But I don't, so I won't. But to cover the ugly top of the jacket, I'm using these brackets and curves to finish the lapel.
Nice.
And that completes the torso for the moment, but since Caine never read Hemingway, we can instead say hello to arms.
You stink!
These arms use a bar piece. With some added plates, this snot piece will attach to the elbow, and a bracket and tile will help bulk out Caine's shoulder. Cover the whole thing with another tile, and then this claw piece will allow for the elbow to both swivel and bend. And then we'll attach another bar plate to create the wrist, and the whole thing is super simple. But it works perfectly. Now for the hands, I'm going to take a page out of Mary's book here, and use these snot bricks as the bases for the hand. Then we'll use these for the cuffs, squeeze that brick on, and now we can use this side to attach the thumb, and this 1x2 bar plate will be used to attach each individual finger. The top ingot even gives the glove a little bit of extra texture, and the open studs allow things to stick to his hands. Let's test him out with the clap. And though I don't have Pomni on me, I have another red and blue jester that we can test the hands on. Ah, the perfect size. Now Caine has a cane, which we can make with two gold domes held together with an axle. Squeeze this connector on there, and as we use this piece, we'll have everyone pretend that this spacer is black and not a dark metallic. Then just jam a large axle in there, another connector with a hole,
The hole is very important.
and one final axle piece. Remember that hole from 5 seconds ago? We use it to firmly attach the cane to Caine. And then we can smoosh the arms into the sockets, and as long as nobody deletes this guy, we can get new weapons at the mystery box before the next round. Anybody? No? Just me? Okay. If you notice this extra technical at the bottom, that's for Caine's bottom, where his legs attach. We've got another ball joint, and this whole thing is based around this piece, with some brackets attached so we can give him some hips, a smooth front, and some cheeks for the back. These legs aren't anything special, honestly just some plates and clips, basically the same as the arms with some extra brackets, but they get the job done and that's what matters. Whew, I almost forgot the coattails. It'd be cool to make them in fabric, but I'm lazy and my leg hurts. So instead I just brick built them with a single layer of plates and curves, and then we'll stick them onto his back. Easy peasy. And this completes our basic giant Caine. And surprisingly, he supports his own weight, which is not something I planned for, as instead, I built this behemoth of opposable stand for him to connect to and float with. And by happy coincidence, if we grab Giant Pomni, we'll see that they're actually in scale with each other. But we're not here just to make Giant Caine, we want a monstrous Caine. So let's pop him off this stand because we're gonna give him some giant arms to stand on. While he doesn't actually stand on two massive arms in the scene, I think it would look a lot nicer than some weird mechanical structure in the background. So we're gonna use these really sturdy joints, attach some brackets and tiles to them so we could hide the color a bit, and this basically becomes our shoulder. Then we'll take the other half of the joint, do the same thing, then add the whole thing to a plate with bricks for filler and some Technic bricks at the end. That way, once we've tiled it off, we can add another ball joint. And the second half of the arm is basically the same, just with two holsters on each end. Now the hand is weird, and these fingers have to be humongous in order to allow Caine to balance without any extra support, because physics. But once these guys have been stuck onto the hand, we can add some extra plates to really lock them in there, make the whole thing look nice, and add another axle and ball to the top. Connect everything, and that's one massive arm. Get another one, and that's 2 massive arms. Then we pull off the curves on his sides and attach them there. And that's already looking terrifying. I love it. Now for the rest. All of these pieces are just for the hands. I honestly lucked out finding 18 fingers for him, though some of them are sun damaged a bit, but we'll take what we can get. And just like that, we have 6 whole hands. Now these arms are much more basic than the originals, but they're also incredibly spindly, which will work perfectly. They look like sunburnt Mr. Bobinski arms. Now here's a secret. These 3 holes are too close together for the arms to move, but these pieces take up the same space and the holes are further apart. Hopefully you didn't forget about the red bricks.
You didn't forget, did you?
Because we're pulling them out and replacing them, just like this. I was honestly too scared to do it on camera. But now we attach the long arms and then the big arms. They do limit the small arms somewhat, but let's pose it and take a final look.
Who do they think they are? I give them everything, and they spit in my face! You mates, they're spoiled! They won't abstract, they won't leave me! I won't let them! I haven't put your frights in your words!
I still haven't printed my custom figures, but I did have some of the knockoffs handy. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video! Sorry if this video was a little less intricate than it normally is. Like I said, I did busted my leg pretty good. It really hurts to stand like this right now. Standing hurts, walking hurts, sitting hurts, laying down also hurts. And you might be thinking at this point, Andrew, are there any other options that don't hurt? And the answer is no. This sucks. But it means I couldn't be sitting at my computer for long amounts of time, which makes editing very difficult. But if you're seeing this, and I hope you are, that means the video did come out. And make sure to do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, you know how it works. As always, I've been Andrew, you've been watching The Scrapbox. Have yourself a wonderful day, and don't bust your leg up pretty bad, because it's not good. Alright, bye.